but yeah. So I thought that was our own feedback. So yes, welcome everyone to our first in-person meeting since sometime early 2020, I think.
March.
Yeah. So this feels like a whole new world. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. We have a full board here at the Slusser Center. I'm Sabrina Dunlap. We have Vice Chair Ken Crown, Stephen Whitley, Anna Wells, and Jeff Donahoe. And I guess we'll start with points of pride.
Oh,
Neil?
oh yeah, points of pride. No, I just want to, I don't really have anything specific tonight. I forgot to do that.
Oh, well, no worries. And I would say one is thank you for getting us set up here safely in this Slusser Center so we can meet in person. And I also unfortunately missed the Memorial Day ceremony because we were out of town, but I heard it was wonderful. So thank you to everyone who helped with that and showed up to that. Anyone else have any other?
I'll just add on that. I had gone to the Memorial Day celebration, which seemed like it was in a different season. But I certainly like to recognize Bob Gappis for organizing it and for heading it up, and Juan Garcia, who gave an excellent from the heart speech. I thought he did an excellent job. I'd also just like to acknowledge our high school sports teams that are doing so well as they move along into the finals and hopefully championships.
All right. Great. Well, next we have administrative. So first up is approval of the consent agenda.
Yeah. I'll
So,
move to approve the consent agenda of Monday, June 7th, 2021.
Second.
excellent. So this was so weird. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approval of the public hearing minutes. Oh yeah, sorry. Anyone opposed? All right. So approval of the public hearing minutes of May 24th, 2021. I do have a small edit.
They're actually public meeting minutes.
Oh, sorry. Public
No,
meeting.
you're reading it
Oh,
what it
okay.
says.
Public meeting minutes of May 24th, 2021.
I'll move them and note that they are sealed.
Oh, so wait, so we're doing public meeting minutes of May 24th.
Oh.
And I just have a small-ish edit, just to clarify that it says in the minutes that I commented about confusion related to schools if we rescinded the mask ordinance. It was actually Ken who said that. My point was about the state epidemiologist still recommending masks wearing inside. Just a small bit, but wanted to clarify that. Anyone else have edits for the minutes? These are the public meetings.
With that correction, I'll move to approve the public meeting minutes of May 25th.
Thank you. I will second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Next, we have approval of non-public meeting minutes section 1, this is May 24th, 2021. Has everyone had a chance to see those? All right.
Sure. Yeah, I'll move session 1 and note that those minutes are sealed.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? No. All right. Approval of non-public meeting minutes section 2, May 24th, 2021.
Move those and note that they are not sealed.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed or abstaining? All right. Approval of non-public meeting minutes section 3, May 24th, 2021.
And I will move and note they are not sealed.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. First up, we have for our public appointment, Karen Robertson, regarding approval of building permits.
I think this is one of 2 other times that I haven't had any to submit to you for this week's review.
Interesting.
I'm sure you all received the memo I provided, and what the planning department's been doing is trying to make our permitting system more efficient. Not only for us as employees, that would be Bob, like myself, as building department, but also to make it more efficient for those applying for permits. And one way that I think that we can do that is by allowing the department to actually issue the permits, similar to what the planning board has done when they allowed the public works director to issue the driveway permits. So I'm here for you to ask you thoughts on that. I think it would be more timely in issuing permits, less costly to the contractors and homeowners, especially in light of what's going on now. We have many people that are approaching us and need something right away because of the interest rates. They're fearful the interest rates will go up. And the cost of construction is changing daily. So believe it or not, whether it's a week or 2 hours, that does affect their pricing. So sorry I don't have much more to provide.
You know, I've heard that contractors will hold bids for 2 days because the price of wood is particularly.
I have one home that I've been working on that they signed they initiated the contract in November, and from November to May, it went up 70 some odd thousand for a new home.
Wow.
So that's just new homes. I mean, garages are even becoming quite high compared to what they used to be. I was just told by one contractor, the price of sheeting is going up again this week. So, and it's just a constant changing process. So in order for them to try to get, everybody wants to try to get in at, of course, the lower rate and the lower interest rates. So that's why, you know, I'm like trying to get the permits to move fast as I can. I've seen a permit probably in the process anywhere from on the spot to probably 5 days. 5 days meaning depending on if it's a new home and whether or not they have the adequate information that we need, in particular the cross sections, the drawings. We've come across a couple, you know, that in particular they don't even meet today's codes. The snow load, wind load isn't even near. So sometimes, at times, we need more information, and of course, that's what would take long.
Question, so would we still like see what had been approved or denied after?
Sure.
making the decision?
You can do that. I did not put this in writing to you, but what I could do is do, in our software, capable of printing off a listing and detail, I should say detail list. I can provide it to you every 2 weeks so you can get an idea of what was approved during that period. As a part of.
We can probably add it right to the consent agenda
Yeah.
like we have with the pre-approved things so that it appears in the minutes at your
And then
next
by
meeting.
all means, if you have questions, just reach out to me. You know, like I said, we've been trying this, we've been trying to make it more efficient all around. One way also, as you can see, as I noted, with the inspection process. Our inspector had a great recommendation. We made that change to try to move things quicker, not to hold up the contractors or the homeowners during construction. And that has been well accepted.
Do you recall any time in the recent past where the select board has denied a request from your department?
No.
I think that was my.
You've only denied them when Karen tells you to deny them, to be honest.
Yes, and that,
Appropriately.
Do you mean like a request that like what I'm making now, or do you mean a permit? Oh, yes. Oh, different from what we recommended?
correct.
No, I don't recall that. I mean, I recall times where the select board over the years has asked for more information. You know, and ultimately, they, most of the time, come up with the same conclusion, maybe a little different, but as far as reasoning. But I think for the most part, it's been consistent. One thing also I should note is that if the authority is given to our my department, still the appeals process remains the same. And there's no deviation there. Right now, we review them, we make recommendations to you, you sign them. We would sign them, and they'd still have the 30, I think it's 30 days to administratively appeal to the ZBA. The ZBA would have 30 days to act on it. And then ultimately, if the ZBA, can either overturn the decision that's either made by you or my department, whichever the case may be. And then eventually they do have so many days to be able to litigate. So there would be no change in that process in which the applicants have to appeal.
So Karen, I think this is a great idea. However, as you know, we have a contractor in town who has more than once built in the setback.
Yes.
And so I would not want that contractor to be approved without a hearing before the board. I think we need some kind of performance bond for him to have to take time again. And so my question is, could you require that someone come to the board under your proposal?
I could, under whatever direction you give me, yes.
I think that makes sense as a condition, we could say as a condition of your approval was coming by the select board. If
So over the years,
I want it prior to approval. I don't want it as a condition of approval because he's
we
been
can
committed.
still be denied.
whatever direction you as a select board give is what I have to follow, of course. We have, back and bite you, I would have to say, is we have always required, construction plans. And we've been pretty lenient on what those construction plans entail. And I would say, we found recently in the last few months that things weren't built as they should have been. So we now are been more detail oriented in what we're requiring of people. So my point being is, yes, you have to watch what may come back, and that particular person has a history, so if that's what you require, by all means.
So maybe the standard is anyone who has a history of
Violations
Yeah, that means they have to, what's your idea, Jeff, they have to come before us?
for the permit.
I mean, we should be requiring a performance bond. If they violate the setback requirements, for example, then they should be penalized.
Yeah, particularly.
Setback requirements are not a unique concept to build.
Right. No, I
Everybody has.
agree. Other thoughts on concerns? Or any other concerns?
Carrie, do you know if to do this, we have to amend the zoning ordinance?
No, we do not. It talks about a building inspector or a representative or something to that effect. I think you have to provide something, in writing.
Okay.
To give you that authority to be able to do it. But no, you do not have to make something.
Okay,
Currently, I only looked at towns, not smaller than us, but our abutting communities that are, tend to be similar in size or larger, and where their department does it, and Bo, their department does it.
okay,
I did not look at the smaller communities.
okay. I mean, I just to echo what's been said, I think it's a really good idea, and I had the same question that Ken did, which I already answered, is, I don't remember us ever saying no when you've recommended we issue a permit. And so it would seem to kind of speed things along, which is probably in everybody's interest. I'm not sure, to Jeff's point, if we can do the things he's asking us to do. So if that's the direction that the board wants to go, I guess I would encourage us to kind of look into that a little bit. But as far as giving you the authority, your department authority, I think that's a good idea.
I do just want to put on the table though, I do foresee, it could happen at any point, that, how trying to circumvent our department's ability, they may still come to you. But that's something that you would have to handle, and, at that time you may disagree, I don't know. But I can see that possibly happen, that somebody may, it's not allowed or something to that effect, and then they come before you. But I would come also to explain my position.
So in the case of a denial. you mean,
Correct.
And then they would try to come.
I'm thinking of a particular project that has been ongoing on Thane Road. Where what I had recommended, they weren't happy with, and then they came before you numerous times, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think if we ended up doing this, like, I would encourage us to have something writing that,
Yeah.
talks about the process
I
that
agree.
is supposed to be followed, and to hopefully head off those sorts of issues as much as possible. Because if people don't like your denial or your approval, I mean, they ought to be appealing to the ZBA, not trying to go over your head to us necessarily.
Well, that's why I didn't really provide a policy per se that you can sign, is because the authority is already given, the statute pretty much gives how that, not the authority, their appeals process.
Right.
And to another local board, and as you know.
Yeah.
So Stephen, when you said we need to look into more whether or not we can do the suggestion of Jeff, do you mean like ask outside counsel, or what do you mean by?
Either the municipal association or outside counsel.
Okay.
I mean, if I would just, it would be a shame if we did something like that and then that turned into kind of a litigation over whether we had the authority to do it to begin with. And so,
Whether we had the authority to request that they come before us first, if they did deny, or if they violated.
the bond, the performance bond,
Yeah.
that part.
I mean, he does have a good point, but I don't know legally, I have no clue. But that particular individual has done it twice, and
Right.
every cat.
I know. And yeah. I understand the
For the record,
sentiment.
it's not.
Yeah. I understand the sentiment and, I think it's, if you're gonna get a permit, you ought to be able to figure out where the setbacks are and deal with them. I just worry about whether we have the authority to require a performance bond.
Now, I'm sorry, it's hard.
Totally fine.
One thing though, the ZBA had in that case, made a point, although not a condition, because I don't think they have jurisdiction, but to require the individual or to indicate to the individual, anything you do, you should have an aspect done at footage or something to that. And, I don't know instead of a component, we do that for new homes. But I'm not sure, if this particular, that's another thing. Instead, I don't know, if we can say anything within 10 feet, 5 feet, I think we can cover one individual in a shed or something.
Right. I think that's my concern with requiring it for everybody that goes before the ZBA, is that there's a price, there's a transaction cost to doing that. And that's a lot of money. So, but on the other hand, it's really useful to have an as-built done because you catch these problems. So, yeah.
We only now do it for new homes, especially if in the future, how and Jamil agrees to, if we decide to plug the homes on our tax maps, at least we have the location. But we do not do it for accessory structure.
Yeah.
So, do people want to, I think we probably have consensus about the general concept, but do we want to double check to make sure, even on the performance bond issue, I'm wondering if somebody has, whether it's 1 time or 10 times, has violated whatever requirements are, that you would have the authority to require a performance bond.
I think that's all, whatever you guys, you as select board dictate, part of my responsibility. But again, that would be a legal question.
So, okay, I hate to delay any longer, but sounds like you should probably verify.
Consider this an ongoing asking for timing. If you consider these two separate issues.
So,
One being,
I think that,
I don't know, give you the authority to that.
Yeah.
I support that.
All right.
100%.
I have somebody that I'm working with for, academic.
And we could certainly work on the rest.
Okay.
But if you give that authority, I would suggest that with the code enforcement officer as the backup person.
Oh, to issue the permits?
That's
To
actually
issue
If Karen's
permits.
not available?
Right, just because I'm thinking if she's out,
Yeah.
I know this is off, but our building inspector backup now, building inspector, he is a great asset. He's handy and he is very lucky. I won't go into details, but he is really helpful. Very, works great with the contractors, and very reasonable.
Good. So I think you have our consensus approval. I think a motion though.
I think a motion.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the planning department, and then the building inspector and the alternative, to give them the authority to issue building permits.
Would that include use permit?
If you're requesting.
That's my
to,
request.
Then yes, the motion, yeah, would include use permits as well.
Second. You got that first.
All right, all those in favor?
Uh,
Right.
Really appreciate your time, thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Thanks for putting this together and doing this.
I won't, keep you, but I just wanted to be updated with some other things. One thing I will be before you, important, is that technical review committee.
Mhm.
We're doing most of the first few things. We already have the roadmap that needs to be updated. Neil and I talked about being able to take these, online or in person, and we talked about different methods by which they can be able to do that. So that's something we're considering. And then, as Anna knows, we're trying, last year was our first like, real step at making more user friendly, and Jeff knows who can use that with him. But the technical review committee, I think, is going to be very important because it's going to cut down a lot of time with the contractors and homeowners, developers and property owners have part of the delay in getting before different modes. So I will eventually, once we get there, come for you and talk about that. Great. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Have a good evening.
Okay, cool.
All right, that brings us to old business, and first up, the in-person meeting.
Sure, it looks very likely that as of the 14th, all meetings should be in person. So my recommendation is that we reset up the town hall and that meetings that are normally held there be held there. Partly because it would be a little easier than setting up here, and as everybody moves to in person, it will be easier for scheduling. So
Neil, the concern about that is in what is the limitation on members of the public?
right, you can spread people out. The hardest part was how do you adjust the daytime stuff versus the nighttime stuff, and we can do that depending on how big the meeting. By far, yeah, because basically the tables and everything are set up and all the equipment can be set up, and it may be either just unhooking the stanchions and pushing the stanchions back, and we'll readjust those to give more room as we do that. So
Will that give enough room for the budget committee? And it needs to be July?
we'll figure that out.
Okay.
They'll have to meet in person just like everyone
Yeah.
else. So either they'll be there or we'll have to find them another location.
Could we turn the fan
Could be, the switches are
I support that.
on? That's a motion.
one of those. That's lights.
Oh,
There we go.
Before we leave this, I wanted to ask, we still
Zoom, if we're back at town hall, or do we revert completely to the old practice, just recording and YouTube live?
That's my other question, I guess, for
Okay.
you, because that's your call, whether we should run Zoom and do Zoom or,
Mhm.
I mean, I think we ought to run Zoom and use it. I think that the response that I've heard from the public has been pretty unanimous, that people really like it, as long as they understand that, I think it's easier for us to interact and hear from the public if it's in person, but obviously we can do it via Zoom as well. But yeah.
And we can get to this when it's public comment, but I'm just curious about the mechanics of, those folks on Zoom, they'll be able to
they
speak just as if we were.
should be coming through the PA system and you should see them on the screen,
Oh, okay.
as if you were.
Great.
Keep your fingers crossed.
So that might work fine then, yeah.
Oh, my God. Are you on?
We're gonna see
Oh.
participating, I can't see them, like.
Oh, okay. I thought
Only panelists see who's participating.
where the audio is very challenging. Oh. And everybody else here, we're closer to like, yeah. How about now? Is it better?
The one thing is with our system, it turns off mics and turns them on as you use them. So if you speak quickly, right, and you may want to start slowly and
Although I
Then
have
you
been at least like a foot away from my commercial. Anyone have feedback for us out in the Zoom world as to whether or not this is,
Yeah, please share.
clear?
Yes, we'll check out the video. Thank you, Maria.
Well, hopefully, if we speak clearly into our mic, it'll be a little less visible.
While we're talking about being in town hall for meetings, are we also, I mean, maybe this is a separate issue kind of, but I mean, I know that there's a dedicated entrance and exit right now for town hall and kind of a very scripted way for people to queue up to go to the town clerk tax collector and go to the other departments. Is that all going to be the same even if we start meeting there again, or will we should we reevaluate that stuff as well?
at this point, I think we can leave it
Okay.
the way it is. And
Okay.
even for meetings, and even when we don't have anything else, we may stay with the side entrance just because it's the accessible entrance.
Okay.
I saw a comment from that person here.
I thought so.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yes.
That was great.
Thanks, Rita. Okay, so unless someone has a problem with keeping Zoom, if we can do it easily, I don't. Anyone? Okay. Okay, great. Well, we're nice to be back in town hall. All right, next up, we have department visits.
So the last time that was done, there was a separate time set up to do that, but it's really up to you how you want to do it. If we're doing Zoom, we can't move meetings around so easily. But I think last time it was like a Thursday morning from 8 to 9. So it's really your schedules and what would work, and then we can schedule those.
I recall that working pretty well. So, I mean, I'd be happy to do something like that again. Obviously, people can't make every single one. We can do our best to schedule around other people's calendars, but that seemed to work pretty well. And it was, I think, maybe the least disruptive to the people who were visiting.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think actually we were on Thursday nights a couple of years ago. And it's good to just show our faces and to, again, meet the, well, we'll get the best employees.
Is there a time that works for all of you that we should try to schedule?
I think if I recall correctly, I feel like it was like 8 a.m. It's like before the workday starts. If that's not a pain for the department.
And are there any day, so 8 a.m., is there any day that's better than others?
Yeah, how soon will we be starting this? Do we have a date?
Yeah. I cannot do Thursdays, actually. I have a standing meeting every Thursday morning. Most other days. And it's a meeting I cannot do. So, Wednesday is Rotary though. Is that every Wednesday or?
Yes.
Every Wednesday, okay. What about Tuesday morning? Is that good for you all, generally?
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we start, well.
Maybe after your next meeting, and I'll start scheduling, I'll schedule some for after that. So that would,
Yeah,
your next meeting's the 21st, so we'll start on the 22nd.
yeah. It's cool. Yeah.
I'm not gonna be here. I don't mean to schedule it all around me, so if this is, I can, I guess, go back to the departments that I'm not able to attend, but I would.
So you're not here the 22nd.
I'm not here the 22nd and the following week either. So
And then the next week is July 4th.
July next week is July, yeah.
So,
Is the plan for this to be at each department?
Yes. Yep.
what if we start July 13th, that would be next, is that our next meeting after we've got the 7th and the 1st? Then we'll have.
Yeah, it is.
Wait, do we have a meeting on July 6th, or did I miss it?
After the 21st, the next one is the 6th.
Right.
Because of the, well, right, because the July 4th holiday will be on that Monday.
That's right.
So I guess we can start like 20th after our meeting on the 19th. You okay with that?
I mean, I'm good with the 6th or the 13th, but it's whatever works for everybody.
No, the text again. I'm scheduled around me.
That.
Six is bad.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So, all right, why don't we start, 13th. Tuesday the 13th, shoot for that.
Okay. And is this, I mean, you know, is the idea that for every Tuesday morning, we'll do a different department, or, and how long, just like. and then
Usually
put them all
it's-
on the calendar?
Usually it's an hour at the most.
Okay.
What happened before, and basically just a chance to go in, generally get a tour of the building, and the department head talks about whatever they want to talk about, and you ask whatever questions you want.
But I guess what I'm asking is how many Tuesdays in a row will it take us to hit all the departments?
Oh, what?
Yeah, what did we did fire, police,
Fire,
sewer,
police,
rec.
library,
Because I don't want to.
transfer station.
The better, so.
I think it's 7.
Oh, we can figure out, yeah, let's plan on 7. Yeah. All right, so we'll plan on 7 Tuesdays, and, I'm sure people will, I don't know,
Is there consecutive on some of them, but
yeah, so will
yeah.
I remember them being a little spread out last time. Did we not, we need to do like every other week
Or
or?
do 2 per Tuesday? I don't know how long it will take to do.
Let's see, if we did. What if we did every other Tuesday, capturing more people who might be on during the summer?
And do it on the week you don't meet? Or is it better on the week you do meet?
That might be good after, if we have a late Monday meeting to have to meet up at a department the next morning.
True. All right, why don't we start Tuesday 13th, and then to the extent we're able to plan it this way,
Do it that way.
do every other Tuesday, minimal.
Sounds
Does that
good.
work for people? I'm hoping that might save us from, I'll be on week, and then none, other than that, like various things.
Right.
All right, we'll start there. And then just have to needed.
So is the 13th the day after one of the meetings?
Meeting on July 6th. every week. So that would be, right, so we're gonna go every other week on off meeting weeks. We'll start with
13th, the 27th, and then we're into August.
Yeah. And I can't remember, we post them in public as well as employee, or, right, okay.
Yeah, they're posted meetings.
All right, anything else in department visits? Okay, that brings us up to our third item under old business, which is the mask ordinance review. So, I guess I'll kick us off and just say that I have not changed my position from our last meeting, and I think we're 2.5 weeks away from July 1st. So, are we not 2.5 weeks away?
Oh, yeah.
24 days.
Sorry, 3 weeks, okay. 3 weeks from July 1st, pardon me. And I've been looking at the New Hampshire DHS guidance. I still haven't seen the New Hampshire epidemiologist, the epidemiologist, and she has been his position on indoor masking. I was looking today at Department of Infectious Disease. They clearly say if you don't know the vaccination status, if you're indoors, you should still wear a mask. This was in the background, listed on the DHS website, and it says in here that they are planning on updating it. This was published May 17th. They said they're planning on updating it in the next few weeks, so I assume they'll have new guidance soon. But in the meantime, they still clearly say that masking indoors, when you don't know the vaccination status of others, you should be masking. So, I would also say, kids under 12 still get vaccinated. And it still feels like we're so close, but as I read about a designer and the guidance for the CPS actually, it says we're in the transition period of relying on community mitigation measures to vaccinate people and end the pandemic. And so we're still in that transition phase, we're still in. Masking indoors is still considered.
As a
We're still in moderate.
Concord has rescinded their ordinance.
I think
A
it's
dozen
fine.
other communities have rescinded their ordinance.
Concord
More
is
like
fine.
it's fine now.
Yeah.
Our ordinance was enacted a month ago. The numbers have gone down steadily around us, despite all those communities not having that. It seems like people can make their own choice. And I thought we were overstepping when we enacted the ordinance, and I think we're overstepping today. The numbers back me up. Remember, I can't.
We are still considered a moderate transmission, though. I'll just say for CDC, they have low, moderate, and substantial. We've gone from substantial to moderate, but we are still a moderate. And in that category, they still recommend reasonable mitigation measures. So, I mean, yes, the numbers have gone down, it's wonderful, but
There it is right there. Zero,
Kids,
zero, what?
near zero.
What are you referring to, the zero?
Those lines should all go down.
They do all go down, yes. Okay, Stephen, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna ask, I mean, I totally get that there is a good segment, I don't know how many exactly, that don't agree with the mask mandate. And, you know, don't agree with it for a variety of reasons. And maybe didn't agree with it when we first enacted it, maybe didn't agree with even the state having one. I guess where I am is that, you know, it may be an inconvenience, and it may upset people to still have this. But there is, I think, still some benefit to it. And
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just got a text that now we have no sound on our Zoom. So if possibly if we're not in Zoom itself. It may not.
test.
Okay, that.
Hello?
Zoom was on.
I don't know
We're out for 2 minutes.
what people, Jeff, do you want to repeat what your comments were, just so people can hear?
All of the numerical indicators show the impact is very near zero. And the ordinance is punitive to people who've been vaccinated, who don't want to not wear them.
How is it
No.
needed?
Being required to wear masks is punitive.
Being required to wear a seatbelt?
We're not required to. There's no
Okay,
seatbelt
sorry,
requirement here.
it's following the speed limit, like, I don't understand.
Well, let's ask the public there, huh?
No, we're not,
Let's see if they think
we're not public comment.
I want to hear from Jeff and hear what he had to say before we go to the public.
He just said what he had to
I know that we don't travel the same circles. People complain to me about it all the time. I know that your people don't complain to you. My people do.
I don't know what that means, because people do complain to me that people are seeing around an hour and a half. And I responded to Jeff to say, we are still considered in moderate transmission. So CDC has low, moderate, substantial. While you're in moderate, it's still recommended to take reasonable mitigation measures like mask wearing and that. That was my response. And then Stephen, then you started.
I want to make sure Jeff's done with what he wanted to say.
The numbers speak for themselves, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think they are so low at this point. 26 cases in the entire county. No new hospitalizations with COVID since May 11th.
That's
I'm sorry, it's published by the CDC. I don't make this stuff up. I
I'm
got
not
the
making
CDC.
it up either.
I'm not gonna.
And
Anyway, okay, so that Jeff's.
I think,
presented his case.
right, and then what I was saying when the feed cut out was, you know, I totally understand that there are a lot of people that don't agree with the mask mandate. And I understand that people didn't want to do it, don't want to do it any longer if we don't take action on this. But to me, there is still a benefit from it. And to me, that benefit is it helps to prevent community spread. And it may be a rather marginal benefit, but the harm, as I understand it, is people disagreeing with it and being inconvenienced by having to wear a mask. And to me, the fact that there is some benefit to it still outweighs that harm. Because again, you know, I understand that people disagree with it, but I don't think it is that heavy of a burden for another 3.5 weeks, to 3 weeks, or whatever it is.
I was corrected,
Okay, well, whatever it is, not a long enough time to continue the mask mandate until July 1st. And I mean, if I'm missing how it is really harming people to keep wearing masks only when they're indoors, please, tell me. Because I just don't, other than you don't agree with it or don't think we have the authority or don't like it, I understand all those things, but what is the harm to continuing to do it for a couple more weeks?
Let me jump in. 2 weeks ago, I supported continuing the mask mandate. In the interim, as Jeff said, the numbers have continued to go down, and we have seen that Concord, Manchester, a number of surrounding towns have dropped their mandates, and a number of stores that have been to have, in effect, gone to the honor system for wearing masks or not. And if the argument is, well, not everybody has been vaccinated yet, does that mean we need to keep the mask mandate till next year because children have not all been eligible to be vaccinated? So I guess at this point, I would support Jeff that I think it's time to end the mandate.
And I just want to say that I don't think that's correct, that it's when every single person vaccinated. I think it's reasonable that we would follow New Hampshire public health guidance on the most recent. It says on May 13th, CDC released public health recommendations for fully vaccinated people. The New Hampshire Division of Public Health Services continues to recommend that businesses and organizations implement the mitigation measures outlined in the New Hampshire Universal Best Practices, including face masks and social distancing for all persons, irrespective of vaccination status, as a pandemic control measure. They later say, New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services will closely monitor COVID-19 infection rates and vaccination updates and will reevaluate face mask use recommendations in the next 3 to 4 weeks, published May 17th. As vaccination rates increase and community transmission decreases, New Hampshire DPHS expects to fully implement CDC guidance by the end of June. And they're referring to the guidance that if you're vaccinated, you can be inside without a mask, but they are still recommending, our state epidemiologists who are closest to New Hampshire are still recommending, as we're in the transition period of coming out of the pandemic, that even though numbers are going way down, and even though things are way better, we're still not out of the woods, and they still recommend, regardless of your vaccination status, that you wear a mask while inside if you don't know the status of everyone else. So that would include stores, for example. Anyway, Anne, you want
You're looking at me.
you're the only one that called on.
Yeah, and I guess I like to go back to what I said last time, which is the recommendations from the New Hampshire Medical Society, which say that they recommend masks being worn indoors closer than 6 feet, which is what our mandate states, until vaccination levels reach community-wide immunity of 70%, and community spread continues at a minimal community transmission level, which, as Sabrina stated, we are still in. We're not down to the blue yet. We are in the yellow, which is better than the orange, but we're still in that moderate spread, which is the lowest level of spread would be less than 50 new infections per 100,000 population over 14 days. So the one piece of data that we have hit is that our 7-day PCR test positivity level is much lower than 5%. So we've got 1 out of 3. I think the other 2 should probably be taken to heart. What? Below 50 to 100,000. Over 14 days. So while we're clearly not going to follow this data and keep re-upping our mapping data until these metrics are met, I do think they're worth looking at and understanding that these are New Hampshire Medical Society, these are the folks who are on the front lines treating people who have had COVID, who continue to suffer with long COVID symptoms. And these are folks who I think we ought to listen to in addition to our public health. So
Yeah, and the notion that kids don't get COVID is wrong. As they talk to my kids back here, lots of children, hospitals, and treated plenty of them. So that is not true. I've seen that out there. And I just want to respond to the notion that we overstepped originally. Select boards are tasked with overseeing public health, and that is what we're doing. It's not arbitrary. It is a reasonable measure to help lower risk during the pandemic. So I fully reject the notion that we somehow overstep. This is what select boards do. This is what local government is for. So I just want to push back and really misleading and quite inaccurate. Anyone else have any comments on ordinance from the board? So just to reiterate, if no action is taken, this ordinance is set to expire on July 1st, which is somewhere around 3 weeks away. And at that point, if we get there, we would, I think, reconsider town buildings. But where we sit now, I would doubt that we would re-up it beyond July 1st or as how many work. That's what I'm gathering from. Steven?
I guess I would just add, just so people are clear, I don't think we should necessarily go beyond July 1st unless something really bad happens all of a sudden. So I don't want the public to get the sense that between now and July 1st, that at least I would be in support. I would not be in support of extending this beyond July 1st, is what I'm saying.
Right, and I agree with that, and I think reading, the Bureau of Infectious Disease Control, and people in the state who are tasked with making these rules and recommendations and guidance, issued this on May 17th, instead of the next 3 to 4 weeks, they have new guidance. My guess is we'll be seeing something from the state of New Hampshire by July 1st. We might also no longer be in a state of emergency, unclear if that would be extended as well. Okay, so I think since we have people on Zoom and we have one member of the public with us, if everyone is willing, I would recommend some public forum of the business to give people a chance to speak on this if they wish. Is everyone okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Our one live person is here. Yeah, we'll
I want to hear.
All right.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
You're on, Greg. Let's see if this works.
And if you can just say your name and address, please, that would be very helpful.
Hey, can you guys hear me? I'm having a hard time hearing back on this. I'm going to raise my hand in one moment
Start
again.
over.
Oh, there we go, we got you.
We just started hearing you. Hello?
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
You can hear you.
You're on, Greg. Let's see if this works.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Are we on?
I'm having a hard time hearing back. I'm going to raise my hand in one moment.
Hang on.
We just started hearing. Hello?
Okay. I think YouTube's muted, so I think we should be okay.
Are we live? Yeah, we're live. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it should work now.
So Greg, are you with us?
You're muted, Greg.
Hey, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, great. Oh, please say your name and
All right,
address,
perfect.
please.
I think I lost it again.
We can hear you, Greg. Now we can. You're gone. I'll go to the. Try the other.
There we go. Now you got me?
Right, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Not sure what was going on there, if it was the YouTube or something else. I apologize for that delay. I already sent in my words, obviously, earlier as a business owner and as a resident, so I won't take up too much of your time. I just wanted to add 2 items to that. Firstly being, I know everyone's saying it's not an inconvenience to wear a mask, but I would challenge one of you to come work an 8-hour shift in either my restaurant or Dimitri's or Christian's or at the grocery store in this heat where the ACs have a hard time catching up, especially at the window at Dimitri's, and tell me it's not difficult to work all day with a mask on in this heat. It's near impossible to do it without feeling truly fatigued. And then the other thing I wanted to kind of make, or maybe put into perspective, is I would question each of you if anyone is leaving the town lines currently. Concord doesn't have a mandate. Manchester doesn't. Nashua doesn't. If you're comfortable being in those communities for work or traveling baseball or vacation, then what would the difference be in having those removed here in our town?
Is that good? Anything else? All right. Thank you, Greg. I just want to clarify, I do think that under the state guidelines, they cover restaurants, they cover employees. We really are talking about patrons of businesses under our, so I think unless you have one.
Which requires everybody indoors.
But I do think that there is state guidance that.
That's what the ordinance says. You know,
Well, it's guidance.
the ordinance says,
It's guidance, not, requirement. That's one thing. For like, for anywhere except for health settings, my understanding. On a state level.
You do have one other person with a hand. It's just-
We have when interacting with the public on this, so, and I just would say, thank you, Greg, for the comments. I don't think any of us would say that it's easy to be in a hot space in a mask all day. I don't think that's what any of us would suggest. I think my comments would focus more on the in and out, people going in and out of businesses in town. So anyway, I appreciate the comments. All right, we've got Rita, can you hear us?
Good evening, guys. Hey, it's Rita Blanchard, Barton Corner Road in Hopkinton. I agree with what Greg said. And I've been in the school. Today was actually the warmest day I was in the school. And it was too warm for the kids to go out for recess. Those kids at Harold Martin, they don't get a mask break except at recess. And you just watch them wilt, and their masks were literally soaked. So I think Manchester released their school, lifted their wearing masks in school because of the heat. But that's where my question to you guys comes from. If you don't lift the mandate and the school board says the kids don't need masks, how are those intertwined? Because my way of thinking would be that they would be in non-compliance with the mandate. This is my question. I've already challenged the school board to go sit in Harold Martin on when it was 80-degree day. And then today it was over 90.
I'm pretty sure they do have mask breaks, but anyway,
I was at Harold Martin today and I saw children outside without masks on, as they are permitted to be for their recess. So I'm not sure what if you think it will not.
Well, I guess my question was, would the school's policy, if this mask mandate is still in effect till July 3rd or whatever, would the school policy supersede the select board policy since the school is town property?
That's a valid question we probably have to look into.
Okay.
so in our ordinance, we recommend business. But I agree, we probably have to double check the town property, but
if that comes up in the, before June 22nd, when school is over, we will look into it.
Right, but school's out before you lift the mask mandate.
Exactly. So after June 22nd, it won't be a problem.
I don't think it's.
The other thing is, wasn't it a week ago, they said that we were at 70% in the state of New Hampshire vaccinated?
Not 70%.
Pretty sure it was,
50%
I got May 27th.
on the state's website right now, on the
Yep.
the dashboard. The vaccination tab shows that first dose is 60%, fully vaccinated is 50%. As of today.
I believe the 70%.
They're saying today.
That makes sense.
And that's always wasn't confused.
Yeah.
Can I just respond to this? And so I just, yeah, thank you for the question. I just looked at our ordinance and it says it applies to all businesses open to the public.
Okay,
So I don't know if on the face of the ordinance it would apply to schools or the school district. Because it looks like it's written to apply to businesses.
okay.
So if there was a inconsistency between us and the school, you know, I'm not sure that we could trump the school board's decision if they did away with the mandate and had ours in place still.
Okay. Where are you guys getting your information from with the percentage vaccinated? Just out of curiosity.
The HHS maintains a COVID-19 dashboard. You want the
Okay.
address? It's
All right.
covid19.nh.gov/dashboard. And there are interactive tabs that show, cases on the map, show hospitalization, show.
Right. Yeah, I do follow that. All right, because I might have got my numbers from a different source, but I'll go look. So thank you.
Thanks, Rita. Okay, we've got our one of our few members of the public here. Norm, welcome.
North Google, 2210. Thank you for volunteering at our school. I just want to be clear on one thing that as a father of a third grader, fifth grader, and as a junior, my kids have been receiving mask rates on the school ground. I also wanted to let it be known that due to the hot weather, this is providing opportunities for our high school students to stay remote in order to accommodate the weather. So, you know, as of right now, I'm pleased with how the school can run our students, providing them with education, many of them could be sick. So I just wanted to just make it very clear to the select board that we are apparently very happy to see this mask rate for our students and the faculty. And it's been really great that what they've accommodated outside of tents, and now that there's no longer a mask outside, it would be great. It's been a lot more fun for these kids to run around and have fun. So that's just a little bit of an update that you guys know. Thank you.
Can I ask you, Neil, while you're here? Or sorry. Neil's over here. Has the select board publicly discussed changing the school board? Thank you. Good thing other people are here. Has the school board publicly discussed changing the mask mandate for the remainder of the school year?
No, we haven't.
Okay, thank you.
We have a new thing on July 1st. Before
Anyone? Also, if anyone wants to comment on anything, this is our public comment moment. It doesn't just have to be on that. So anyone who's with us,
There is ready.
all right. Hi, Bob. Just for your full name.
Hey, it's Bob Mattio, 108 Park Ave. You're able to hear me?
Hear ya.
Okay, great. Hey, very briefly, I heard Greg and Rita crystal clear. I haven't been able to really understand the arguments. I'm getting, just from a technical perspective, I can't hear. The volume's fine, but everyone there other than the two questions, I'm not able to hear. I'm getting like every other word that I can actually make out. And it's not a volume issue. So I don't know if it's the masks with the microphones combined, but, and I don't know if anyone else is having this problem. I'm on Zoom and I've tried different devices to see if I could get away from that. And I'm getting the same. I really haven't heard it. I couldn't really understand any of the arguments other than from the questions from Greg and Rita. So
Right.
I did also want to say, sorry, go ahead.
Right now, like, can you hear me speaking clearly in this moment? That's Deb, can you hear me?
I can kind of make out what you're saying. Yeah, it's difficult, and in context I can, but it was still, for me, yeah, it's a little difficult.
How about now? Is this any better?
That was fine.
Great, everyone, pop up these little phone things on your microphone and let us test on and see if you can hear us better out there. Does that still work, Bob?
I seem to hear that okay.
Great, let's try it out.
So
Yeah,
and that.
hopefully this-
So yeah, that seems to be better. You know, I just really just wanted to say I would prefer that, you know, we would drop the mandate as soon as possible. I understand the concerns, you know, about keeping it, but I would just prefer that, you know, we dropped it as soon as possible for some of the things we've ran into. The company, our company specifically, we're dealing with that issue of trying to keep the staff healthy during the day, and we've had some issues with some of our control centers and technicians being able to function properly during the day, especially in the heat wave. So that's a concern. That's my preference, and that's really all I had to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for calling in. Anyone else have comments, masks or otherwise?
Clarify one thing on Mr. Mario's comment. If employees are not interacting with the public, they're not required to wear masks. Is that the right reading of our ordinance?
Yeah.
So requiring employees to wear masks when they are away from the public, members of the public, is the employer's call. So I don't know if that helps at all with providing leniency, but it's more in those sort of service moments where folks are walking in from the street rather than folks just sitting or working together without interacting. Clarify.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. It is employees of businesses number of face or interacting with the public. So I think that gives us a sort of that people who are not out in front of customers, and they again, it's a great point as well. And it's, you know, depending on what the state guidance is, yeah, I don't think under this you require face. Okay. Anyone else? I saw another hand pop up.
I thought the Bible 3.
What's up, Rita?
No,
So you
no.
can put it down.
All right. So last call for public comment. Okay. Anyone in the room want to make public comment on that? Or anything
We'll
else?
have our opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we will close public comments. Thank you to everyone who called in and shared their thoughts and who showed up. So it sounds like consensus at this point, unless I'm mistaken, is to.
I move that we rescind the ordinance. One second.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed?
No.
All right, motion failed. So that brings us to new business. It's blank.
There's no
There is
business.
No new business? All right, then let's go to town administrator update.
Sure, I'll give you two updates. There's been talk about communities doing community power. And on Monday, June 28th at 2, anyone who's interested in learning more about that, we'll do that with the people that provide us our power. That's where residents can buy their power through this as a community plan. Also, we've been working on the alcohol policy. All the department heads got their comments in, and at staff meeting, we'll spend time going through, and hopefully we'll have a draft to you at the next meeting. But it seemed important to get everybody's broad input, so quite a few comments have come in. So we'll put it all together and see what we come up with.
Yeah, with regards to community power, you've been hearing from many members of the public that are pushing for that, because I thought in the other towns that are moving in that direction, it was, let's say, a groundswell of residents.
No one has approached, but our consortium that buys power together, numerous towns within that are moving in that direction. So this isn't a commitment, it's just a learning type.
You said that was June 28th?
It's June 28th at 2 p.m. It's a Zoom.
Oh,
I'll send that out. Once I don't have the link yet, but once I get the link.
All right, is that for update?
That's it.
Thank you. Anyone have anything else for other?
I have a couple of things. The first is my understanding is that the fair is adding another day, and I'm just concerned about what the status of counting that is, because in our agreement with them, there is to be a county. And then another item, when we worked on the budget this past year, we recognized that we hadn't really done an in-depth comparison of health insurance versus the concept that schools have. And that would be something, I'm just saying, heads up, that, since I know you don't have much to do, we could add that to your list.
Sure.
That's all.
All right, that brings us to non-public.
I have one
Sorry.
question. I noticed that there's a porta potty at the gazebo. We were adamant that shouldn't be the case last year. The top voting on it, disposing this year. Did you pay for that?
That is rec. These restrooms are open, and the school had porta potties for their sports at George Park, but I think they've just taken those. So.
You still have to wear masks. How do you have that?
Or no one's letting you together. Right? I mean, it's a different landscape than it was last. You didn't understand.
Well, you don't think the virus can move on surfaces?
I'm
One
That's all.
You need 1 in 10,000 people. So basically, no.
We were very adamant about it last year. I don't recall the board approving it this year.
Oh, are you able to work on it or bathroom here?
Oh,
So you have to check on the porta potties in the rec department.
Yes. So I guess we had always done it prior to last year, and we just did it. So if the board can say remove it, or the board can say it can stay.
And just to respond to your point, Jeff, last year when we had so much information, we also had to close down the playground, close down the transport, because we didn't realize this is almost entirely airborne transmitted illness viral. So I suppose we're probably in a place than we were in terms of like having. So I agree, if we reviewed it last year, I mean, we pulled the closing playground, and had to do that. Because I think we moved beyond where we were. So, happy to look in the porta potty. I don't know if anyone else has an objection about bathrooms. Okay. So I think we are in it. So hopefully that will be really that too. Anything else? Okay, so we have non-public. So, what was, so
now, Bob says, the technical thing.
yeah, all right, Bob, if you're with us, want to say something, feel free. Bob, if you can.
Okay, hi there. Hi, folks. Bob Lepre, 25 Highland Ave. My comment is that the Zoom aspect of being able to do the meetings is really important. However, the way it's going now, I have barely understood much of anything you've said. And except as Bob, the other Bob that called in said, anybody who was speaking through their computer was great. And I can hear Neil great because I think that's where the best pickup is. You guys are not coming through very well. And I know the master problem, but so what I want to say is that I think the Zoom function of being able to have people participate pretty directly is great. And I'd like to see us really institute that as a methodology in addition to our live meetings or in-person meetings. And as I've suggested before, I would think that it wouldn't take a lot to set up a decent hardware and software system to do that. And as far as funding goes, I think that the COVID relief money has got some aspects that we could utilize, or some funds that we could utilize, because we're supposed to be getting some. Anyway, so I just would appreciate it if we could have this Zooming much more effective audio wise. When you tried to improve things when Bob was on, it did for a little bit, but like I say, I know there's hardware and software and stuff like that could probably automate it better. But so I'd appreciate it if you'd pursue that. Thank you, guys, folks.
If, yeah, hopefully we can go through this and maybe we get our meeting hall too. Okay, so for non-public, I believe we're going to shut down Zoom and we will say goodnight to everybody on Zoom world. And after our non-public sessions, there will be no further business. We will adjourn the meeting. We're holding our non-public in person here. So can we ask, was the plan to move it in here or did we have a separate?
In here.
So for our first one, I'm sorry that we are 20 minutes later than we thought we'd be. Perhaps the person who's not here for the first public session.
We're rolling 3 weeks. So all of us are going to go to that society, prepare heavy on, program.
Okay.
A portion of the board of directors.
Okay, okay, so we will shut down Zoom and why don't we
Make them go into non-public.
Oh, I'm sorry. So
I'll make a motion to go into non-public under 91A 3 little d.
Second.
all in favor? Opposed? And we need a motion for the second one as well. We're going to non-public session under RG 91A 3 little d. All those in favor? And opposed? And after that, we'll
The roll call.
Oh, right. All right, back. Got it.
You do.
Forgot.
Roll call.
So, first one, Stephen made a motion.
Oh, I renew my motion.
Okay, and so let's go down. Stephen.
Yes.
Ken. Brenda, yes. Anna.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah.
This is good old days. Okay. Anna, I believe made a motion. Jeff seconded. So Jeff.
Yes.
Anna. Yes. Brenda, yes. Ken. And Stephen.
Yes.
and,
Wonderful. Okay.
and a third one for legal.
Oh.
Oh, that's right.
What letter is it?
Little L.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay, Andy, let's even make that.
I make a motion, we go into non-public, the third non-public session. We're gonna have under 91A3 to little L.
All right, Stephen.
Yes.
Ken. Yes. Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. Legal.
Yeah, no, it really is.
Thank you to everyone who joined us today.
Well,